Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Check it out. It's the DJI, also known for their drones, Osmo Action camera. They finally released it. I finally got my hands on one, and today we are going to give this thing the full review. We're going to unbox it, take it out in the outside environment, and also in the water. This one is waterproof up to about 36 feet. Just really see what kind of filming and stability it has, you know, from a normal perspective. I'm not a pro photographer or anything. We're going to see just from the average user really how this thing performs. Okay, so as you can see, it's basically directly competing with one of the known brands, GoPro. I don't have the latest GoPro 6 or 7, but I do have the GoPro 5, and I also have the GoPro 5 Session. So just a size comparison out of the box, we'll go ahead and compare it to these. I also have some mounts I bought for my GoPros, so we'll see how they fit. Before we go ahead and open up the box, let's go see what this thing actually has as far as specs. So it has a dual screen. That's something the GoPro doesn't have. It has a dual color screen. As you can see on the front here, it's got a pretty decent sized screen. So if you're doing selfie shots, you can line yourself up. It does do 4K HDR video, 11 meters waterproof. Now that's about 36 feet. And it has electronic image stabilization in 4K. And it can do 4K in 60 frames per second. 8 times slow motion, I believe that is, in 1080p mode. So we're going to see how that slow motion also performs in the water. Maybe in the waves here in Hawaii, we'll take it in there and get some cool wave slow motion shots. So let's go ahead and just break into this thing and open it up. See really what it comes with and what all the peripherals are. So I have not opened this up yet. It's completely sealed. And just to let you guys know, I did buy this myself. I don't have any affiliation really with DJI as far as them sending me things yet, hopefully in the near future sometime, but I still do have to buy all my own DJI products. I really try to keep it as unbiased as possible. So this is going to be definitely an unbiased review. And there we go. There is the box opened up. Already noticing a nice little pad that goes right over the lens there. Cool looking camera, a little bit different than what we've seen by GoPro. First thing that's really striking is this new ring. Now what this is it's a unscrewable lens filter ring where you're supposed to be able to unscrew it and put different lens filters. Now this only does go about 36 feet deep, so if you're going to go further, you're going to want to get a deeper waterproof case. But 36 feet, I'd say that's pretty good for snorkeling and diving in general, even spearfishing. I mean, my max is about 40 feet, and then my ears start to give me trouble. It's already kind of sitting in its action case. Yep, no problem. Screws right in there. So if you already have GoPro accessories you bought, check that out. You can use this, and this is a great little waterproof handle where it'll float, and so your thing won't sink if you're playing in the waves. Good to know. You can use, it looks like pretty much all of the kind of universal types of attachments for your GoPro cam you already bought, so you don't have to buy a bunch of new stuff for this cam. Of course you can if you want to. I'm sure DJI is going to have a bunch of peripherals like this if you haven't already bought this kind of stuff. So they'll definitely cover all your bases there. It says Titan lens jacket before swimming. So I'm going to peel this off. So it looks like before you put this thing in the water, make sure this is on tight. And this thing's actually really on there. I can't even unscrew it here on the camera. So I'm going to make sure I'm doing it the right way before we go any further on that. Also on the front screen, it says switch mode, switch screens or exit. And there's a QS button on the side right there. So we'll go ahead and peel this off as well. This one says power, display off, display on. Okay, so 2 buttons on the top, and there's also recording on the top as well. We'll go ahead and try to open up this action case real quick. So just an easy mechanism on top, very simple. Pulling up, sliding the camera out, and there we go. That's the camera in its raw form. Now we can go ahead and take off this little piece of plastic there. Okay, so that's interesting. So that pushes in and that opens, very similar again to GoPro. Wow, this is looking very similar the way they did this with the silicone seal. There's access to a micro USB port for charging and also your micro SD card. The way that goes back in is push all the way down, slide forward, and it clicks. And you can see how the whole back is just basically a large touch screen. There's a little bit of a bezel. We'll be checking that out a little more when we get this battery in. A little DJI logo there right on the front, and it just says Osmo Action. Anyway, we want to get into the other stuff, so let's pull these little boxes out here, open this up, and they're just kind of jamming everything. A micro USB cable to regular USB, that's going to be how you charge it. Locking screw, so this is going to enable you to, if you don't already have one from all your GoPro stuff, it's going to enable you to slide this through and put it on accessories. This is kind of an interesting, kind of a new type of deal here. You see how that thing has like a tab that pushes in, just like that, and then you can twist lock this off. So they give you two base mounts. One's just flat and circular, and one is kind of rectangular, but you see how it's curved for like a helmet. Twist it, you hear that lock, and that is not coming off there, and it'll tell you push this thing in and release it. Last thing in the box is the battery. It comes with its own little case, says DJI on it. Let's open this thing up and see what's in here. So nice and easy, opens up. Very nice. Oh, there's even a little micro SD card slot, but they don't include any micro SD. Would have been nice, maybe like a 16 gigabyte at least. Otherwise, there's just no micro SD card to start with this. You have to have your own. Most people already do, but if you're new to all this stuff and you don't have one, it's kind of a pain to open this thing up and see, oh, there's no memory card. I can't even take a video. So come on, DJI, just give us like a 16 gigabyte high-speed card, a couple dollars on your end. Anyway, getting to the battery, here it is. It's a rechargeable lithium-ion polymer battery. It's 1300 milliamp hour, 3.85 volts. And this is kind of unique. Check this out. On the end cap, it's already got this silicone seal there. This orange thing here is a silicone seal. So the cover is already on the battery, guys. So just be careful of that. I guess that's a good way of not losing the cover. Tapered edge here. This notched edge goes closer to the lens side. And let's see how this goes in. It just pushes. There we go. And it locked both of them. Take it out. You got to do both. So at least you can't really accidentally open it up with one button. So that camera did get quite a bit heavier with that battery in there. And just to compare it to the GoPro Hero 5, check this out. There is the top. GoPro is bigger that way. Maybe actually a little bit thicker this way on the DJI. Looks like the DJI is actually wider too this way. See how it's a little bit wider. Just a little comparison there. And then on the Session, same thing we'll do. You see how the Session is quite a bit deeper, a little bit shorter this way, and pretty much you could fit the Session right in the screen there. The front screen, it's about the same square size, maybe a little bit wider. Anyway, let's power this thing up. Enough talking about it and looking at it. Let's power it up and see how it all looks on the screen. So press and power there. Wow, okay, so we have an initial screen and it should be touchscreen, so let's try it. Yep. Activate with DJI Mimo. So you're gonna have that Mimo app in your phone. Kind of like if you do have the Osmo Pocket, uses the same application. Let me go ahead and get that up on my phone and show you guys how that looks. So just like all DJI products, guys, you're gonna have to have a DJI account and log in. If you don't already have one, go ahead and create one. So you're gonna wanna make sure your Mimo application is logged into your account. Then all we do is make sure our camera is on. I'm gonna turn this on again. It does sleep after a while. And to get started, I'm gonna hit this little book here up top, and then it asks you if you wanna do the Pocket. The only other selection is the Action. So you click on the Action, then we can watch kind of all these introductory videos. And I should mention that unfortunately this is not a manual. All this is disclaimer and safety guidelines. There's really no manual in the box. They want you to go online and find all this stuff online. So just watch all these videos basically on how to activate it, getting started. And it says after watching the videos I just talked about, it says to press on the camera button there. So it's going to look for the camera. It already found it, and there it is there, connect. So this is pretty simple. Verification code on Osmo. Cool, so I have a verification code there. Boom, and press accept. Then, of course, we have all this disclaimer information. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. Look at that, woohoo! And activate. So it's gonna activate it on your account, so if you have any problems, it's linked to your account, which is actually good. And then there was a green check mark that just said activation successful on the camera. All right, cool, so check it out. As soon as I pressed OK, we actually have an updated RDCs. Let's just keep it updated. Go ahead and install. So this will be a quick little tutorial on how to update and how fast it goes. Failed to download. Boy, DJI still hasn't fixed this stuff. So I've got to reconnect, connect. connection failed. Wow. Leave it to me to find the hiccups, right? Boy, I seem to have this problem with every single one of DJI products. It's not telling me to do anything with my Wi-Fi or anything. Connection failed. This is unbelievable. What's the deal here? Let me check out my Wi-Fi here. Okay, so what it does is it switches your Wi-Fi through the app directly to the Osmo, and it says it's connected. I do have data on my phone. So this could be a little bit frustrating. Man, you would think that DJI would like have been able to like work out all these issues. This is quite frustrating. Connection failed. Make sure it's on, which it is, and place near mobile device, which it is. So let me try to work this out, guys, and I'll let you know what actually works. So just having a wonderfully bad time here trying to get this thing connected now. So anyway, let's try the iPad. I got the Mimo app installed on the iPad. Let's turn back on the action cam. There we go. I'm just going to press accept. Ask to join. Let's see if it actually can connect on this one or if there's some sort of problem. And there we go. What do you know? I got the video coming up and I can see in real time what's happening on the camera. So as usual, DJI, I think they have some kind of conspiracy, honestly, against Android, or it's just too hard for them to make Android stuff work. So anyway, found new firmware. So let's try and download it. So failed. Okay, so this, I don't have a data card in this iPad right now. So I guess what I'll have to do is go into my Wi-Fi, switch to my home Wi-Fi, and let's try to download it. Okay, so now it's downloading. So just remember, if you don't have like a data connection on the device you're downloading from, go ahead and do that. So there we go. I just pressed OK and 50%. So now we need to install it. So what we've got to do is we've got to get back onto the action cam, right? So let's see if we can go back into settings and somehow reconnect. There we go. We'll just force it to reconnect to the Osmo Action Cam. Go back into here and there it goes. Okay, so it already connected and it's already installing. So what this tells us is with Apple devices, boy, you're going to have a much easier time, right? Installing latest firmware, and look at what it's doing on the camera. Updating approximately 2 minutes. So anyway, problem solved by switching to Apple. That's very disappointing. This is one of the newer devices, these Android devices here. This is the OnePlus 6T US version, and it's one of the more popular devices here in the US, and it can't even really work well with it. And that's the same problem I had when I was using an LG phone for a while when I was first beginning to review DJI drones like the Mavic and the Spark and the Mavic Air, Mavic Pro, all that stuff, is I had trouble with Android. Just a little gripe there. Update successful on the camera, update success on the iPad. Gonna click done, and gets us back into our first person view. So you could use that if you wanted to, if you're in close proximity and you wanted to kind of use this interface. A little gripe was initially when I was connecting it and didn't have an SD card in, nowhere on the interface here or within the phone as I was doing it was there any notification that I needed to have a micro SD card in there until I watched one of their videos. So learn from my mistake and make sure you put a micro SD card in there right away. It is defaulting to, as you can see there on the bottom, 4K 30 frames per second, and it is using image stabilization defaulted. Voice control, enable or disable, it's off by default, it looks like. So this is going to enable stuff like start recording, and there it goes. You see how it just started recording right when I said that. Stop recording, and there we go. So you have voice control if you wanted to. Of course, if you're in a environment where people are talking, you might confuse it and start recording by accident. Hey, it didn't start recording that time. Turn that off. Double tap with 2 fingers. Yeah, so that switched it to the front screen. There's how the front screen looks, guys. So there it is with my camera. And so if you're doing selfie shots, at least you can get yourself in view. Let's see if the front screen is touch. Nope. So not touch screen, so you're gonna have to reach around the back. And there you go. You got your screen on the back and nothing on the front. And what if we swipe up? There we go, rock steady. That's their electronic image stabilization up on the top right. You can press it there to turn it off or on. On is blue. We got 2.7 4x3, 2.7, 1080, 720. And it shows you here what is available in rock steady. Cool, and then we have our FPS here. You can see that we got 30, 48, 50, wow, 60 in 4K. It's still available with the rock steady image stabilization. That's great, but not in the 4x3. Swipe down, whoops, gotta be careful here. We wanna go off screen and swipe. Let's see if we swipe to the left. Okay, that's that little video we took.
See how it just started recording right when I said that.
See?
Stop recording.
Okay, so that was me testing out, remember that voice recording there? And I'm just gonna trash that. Delete, so you can preview all of your video and information. Let's swipe to the right. There's our settings, so we can do our EV and our ISO. You can see that once we go into manual, we can adjust that. I'm kind of an auto guy, so I'm just gonna leave it in auto. If we press this QS button on the side, let's see what happens. So pressing it once, you can also keep pressing it if you wanted to, or swipe it with your finger. So if you see that RS at the very top, that means rock steady, and that's their image stabilization. So when you see that, it's gonna have that smoothness. When you do go to HDR and 4K, it does take off the RS from the top, so you have no more image stabilization. This is interesting. I'm noticing that this little lens cap here, this is heating up. It's getting pretty hot, so they're using this as kind of like a heat sink. It'll cool off the camera through this aluminum on top. I still want to try to take this thing off, right? Man, that is not coming off. I guess unless you're going to use like ND filters, aftermarket filters, I just really leave this on because it says in the instructions that this is not waterproof without this on. Really make sure that the ND filters you are getting are still going to make sure the camera is fully waterproof when you put those on. But yeah, this is not coming off. It's not easy at all. Another little gripe, it would have been nice if they put some kind of tool in the box that you could kind of slip over this. It was notched. There was nothing like that in the box to allow you to open this up. They are awesome quality and awesome products that DJI produces, but man, if they could just get those little quirks out and just make sure it's a little more finalized, then I'm sure they would have a lot of less complaints and less problems. So anyway, that is the unboxing. Let's go ahead and get out there in the ocean, to the beach, get some action cam footage. I'm going to be using this to review actually a couple of submarines and water scooters. Again, links in the description of where you can get this camera and more of the specs. I hope that was informative for you, even though, you know, some issues. I like to go through the pros and the cons. So anyway, let's get this thing out in the water and outside at the beach and see what kind of video we can get. I'll see you there. All right guys, so here we are at the beach with the DJI Osmo Action Cam. First test out on the water. Here it is here. I got it in its regular case, and I'm actually just using a GoPro little water handle here, floatable water handle. So we'll go ahead and just get some shots and see how this thing does in the water here. As you can see, just on the shoreline, we're gonna try some slow-mo and some 4K and see how it does. All right, so this thing does 4K at 60 frames per second with the Rocksteady stabilization on. So let's see how this looks. Try to get my son doing some skimboarding with the stabilization. So here we go. Jeez, Sanaya, get out of the way. You okay? You gotta get out of the way of him skimboarding. He was right there. Oh, you all right? All right, guys, so here's some 2.7K at 60 frames per second with the Rocksteady stabilization on. Let's see how this is. Oh. Woo!
Dude, you gotta paddle better, man.